Gotta get my studio set up. Should have done that first time. Alright, we got a little bit of light there. Let's change this angle here. Alright. Gotta get the beard in the shot. People like the beard for some reason. We got our Perrier water. Now, I don't know if anybody's going to come in here because I believe Trucker's Coach is live, but I'm sure I will not dent any of his numbers. Yes, I'm back in the truck. I'm actually at a truck stop. If you don't believe me, here you go. There it is. See if you can guess where I'm at. Thomas Wilson knows where I'm at. Don't blurt it out. It's one of my usual runs. And I used an air fryer for the first time today. An air fryer. And wasn't bad. So, yeah, finally back in the truck. That is absolutely true. And, dude, I'm going to tell you something. Yesterday sucked. It just sucked. I'll get into it here in a second. We'll get some more people in here. If you don't mind, hit the thumbs up because that makes me awesome. And that makes you awesome for doing it. If you hate my guts, hit the thumbs down, but hit it twice because you hate me that much, okay? And, oh, looks like Jeff is live too. Oh well, that's what I get for going live. How long has Jeff been live? Let's check that out. Oh, Jeff just started. Okay, so evidently my notifications didn't go out. So you guys can either go check Jeff out or you can check me out. So I took the wind out of my sails a little bit. Oh well. We'll talk about some things. Jeff looks like he's talking about the Uber and Transplace merger, or Uber acquiring Transplace, which that might actually affect me because my first year in the spot market, I was doing a lot of Transplace loads. To the point that I had a gal that would email me every morning. She would call me and she was kind of the go-to person. She was kind of higher up, so I got better rates from her, and we actually did pretty good. And then they promoted her, and the new person I got was not as cool, but I still made quite a bit of money. I think Transplace, C.H. Robinson, Uber were my first ones because they have a lot of the freight in the area that I run, because Transplace is out of Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas to be exact, so I tend to get a lot of their stuff. So, but you left Coach for my show. Well, thank you. But who's going to go to Jeff's show? It's very rare. Well, I guess Jeff's been doing this Nuts and Bolts show at night. I didn't realize he was going to go live. So Jeff, if you're watching, I apologize. I didn't mean to step on you. So it's been a day. So let's do some shout outs and let's go. So yo, Pigtail, what's up? Pigtail says blowout man. Scott SRO Logistics, hey Robert Daniel, hey Snorelord, Thomas Wilson, hey Steve, Truth About Trucking Wife. Hello, Overtaxed Minnesota, yes, goodbye. Alright, I left couch for your show. John Dollarhike, good evening, Snorelord. Robert Daniel says finally back in the truck. Yep, it's crazy. Hello YouTube, it's your favorite American trucker checking in from Ga. Let's see, John Armstrong, Clyde Garland, good evening. How much dust did you knock off that thing? Oh, the air fryer wasn't too bad. Let's see, everybody's talking about Coach. Let's see, a gallon, such a very 50-ish way to speak, but I can dig it. Rick LP, hi. Daniel Adami, you were not first. Listening to your misfortune is more entertaining, says Scott. And that's the beauty of YouTube, is people want to see you suffer. People want to see you fail. People want to see you in despair. They want to see you angry. They want to see you rant. They want to see you, they want to see you suffer. And my analytics show that there's proof in that. If I title something, my truck broke down, or if I title something negative, I get better views on those videos. Maybe people want to see me fail. Maybe people want to think that Steve needs to be knocked off his high horse because he's an asshole, right? So, and maybe I am. Maybe I deserve that. Maybe I deserve to be crapped on. Maybe I deserve that. So, I didn't see your notification. I'm at home. You're even lucky I'm even in here. Daniel Adami blessing me with his presence. I am so very lucky. Why the heck would you waste your time on me when you're at home? And I know how often you get home, right? So that's very strange to me, Daniel. But, hey, to each their own. I enjoy the fact that you're here, and I enjoy the fact that you think that you know that you're a blessing to this live feed. So, we need some drama from you so we can get more views. Well, I don't know. I don't think I'd be good at that. I really don't. I was dragged into one little thing. We kind of curtailed that. And other than that, there's really not much in the drama world for me. Yeah, maybe an asshole, but you bastards still watch, right? I do not want to see you suffer or fail. See, well, John, I'm being facetious. I'm being sarcastic. That sarcasm is also a very good popular YouTube thing. See, look at the numbers right there going up. Look at that. So Kaislin, look at Kaislin. Kaislin's flying all over the world, and he's got things going on. Kaislin's got things going on. So, Kaislin, what have you got going on? You can reveal it right here since you don't have a YouTube channel. So, yesterday was my first day back after a little over a month. If you guys have not been paying attention, I had some family issues I had to deal with. We had to move my mom out of her home that she's lived in for 30 years. And it was not a pleasant experience. It was a very emotional experience. It was a very troubling time for our family. But she's all settled up in upstate New York. I actually went into New York with a Penske truck. That was fun. And then I took a rental car back. And I was going to do some more sightseeing, but I thought, man, if I could save $200 on turning the rental car in a day early, that'd probably be more important than, and then not having to spend an extra night in the hotel. So first night we spent the night at my niece's, and the second night I was home. So the Snorelord, your rocker name, Beast Mode, that was a name given to me by the singer of a death metal band out of Arkansas, Vor. Paige Townsley gave me that name, and I just kind of started using it in chat rooms and message boards. You guys remember message boards that predated Facebook and MySpace? You guys remember those? I was in there quite a bit in Metal Maniacs, and then there was one for Northwest Arkansas metal scene, because even though Apnea was from Springfield, Missouri, we kind of consider ourselves part of the Northwest Arkansas scene, and we had a group called Ozark Mountain Death Metal, and that's kind of what we all were, because you got the Ozarks in Arkansas and you got the Ozarks in Missouri. So yes, and my original nickname before that, though, was Eeyore, which would cause a lot of problems here on YouTube, so we don't go by that name anymore. But if you go to Truckers Report and type in Eeyore, you might find some of my old posts from when I was coming out of trucking school. Ooh, historical significance. Cash King, hello. The AOL days of social media. That Napster, you guys remember Napster? Once you downloaded this program where you could choose the chat rooms that you're in, the music rooms you're in, oh man, it was on. And other than a few creepy people saying, hey, you want a cyber, blah, 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 like I'm going to do that. Like I'm going to type on a keyboard and pleasure myself. That seems very dumb. to each his own, though. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But the chat rooms, like, I got some really good music, and the bands that I really liked, you know, because this is before you could stream everything. I would actually buy the music. So I didn't really steal a whole lot of music, but I did my share of sampling, and then I would give samples of my music as well, and that's where Apnea got a lot of its distribution, worldwide distribution. We got CDs in every continent except Antarctica, and you know, and yeah, so yeah, so nothing witty is in the house. I miss the old bulletin board systems before MySpace and Facebook. Yeah, Metal Maniacs was the one I was at. Metal Maniacs magazine was the one I was at all the time. Because every now and then you get one of the famous people like Billy Milano or Scotty in those, and you could chat with them and all that. But regardless, this is a trucking channel, so we'll talk about trucking stuff. So yesterday, I started my day about 9 a.m. I booked a load, Joplin to Ohio, and I had plenty of time. I didn't pick up till 1, so I wasn't in too much of a hurry. It was perfect because it allowed me some time to gather all my things, because I had, you know, I have separate truck stuff and I have separate home stuff as far as my stuff like shirts and all that kind of thing. And I had intermingled them because I was home for so long, and I needed some of that truck stuff to go with me to New York, such as my CPAP machine, the tools, you know, the chargers and stuff like that. I did not bring my tools with me because that would have made me a felon in New York, so I didn't do that. But with that being said, I needed some time to kind of get back in trucking mode, because I spent the last weekend getting all my numbers caught up, getting my bills caught up, getting, you know, I got behind on trucking office. I got behind on my numbers. I got behind on my expenses. I got behind on my fuel. And then, you know, there was additional payments I had to add and figure out how to do that, because I got to do it a certain way. And so, you know, I had to get in the mode. And then Tuesday morning, I looked for a load, left out Wednesday, because I had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday as well. And I ended up booking this load, and I knew it was going to easy get out of here on a Friday, because I didn't deliver until Friday mid-morning. So I knew that kind of would be pushing it to hopefully get out of here by Friday afternoon. And I found the perfect load. I didn't even negotiate a rate. I just took it, what they offered. And, you know, so we're grabbing a load back to Joplin. So for pretty much the same amount that I took it into Ohio. So very little deadhead. I'll go through the house, depending on how traffic goes tomorrow. Just east of Indianapolis is a nightmare. And it has nothing to do with the shutdown inside Indianapolis. It's some construction. They're basically rebuilding 70. So all those years of all of us complaining about the roads in Indiana have actually paid off, and they're actually repaving the whole entire interstate. Unfortunately, that means long 10, 15-mile backups. And my very good friend Thomas Wilson contacted me after I was out of the backup, telling me what I should have done. And what Thomas should have done was call me before I went into that, so I can avoid that. But it wasn't really that bad today. It was worse when we went to New York. So, but that wasn't the worst part. So I get all my stuff ready, and let's answer some questions. Yes, I do still buy albums. Jacob E. Lanes, do you perform and where? I'm a metal fan. No, I do not perform at this point. The band that I was in is kind of on hiatus, and Apnea can be found if you type in Apnea 1 on Bandcamp. You can find our music. Soon it should be on Spotify. So you Spotify streamers and your iTunes streamers, you'll be able to get my music. GNC Family Truck, what's up? Have you opened for any known bands? First Class. Yes, I've opened up for Lamb of God, Soulfly, Immolation, 3 Inches of Blood, Metal Church, MOD. I'm sure there's a few that we're forgetting. We had a chance to open up for Obituary, but that got canceled at the last minute. I don't know if Hatebreed was one or not. dying fetus, Origin. So, you know, but probably the most well-known band, 6 Feet Under. So probably the most well-known bands would be Soulfly, 6 Feet Under, and Lamb of God. Lamb of God is probably the biggest one. That was probably our biggest show. Crisis, yes. Nothing Witty is a fan, so that person can list all the people that I've forgotten. My notification never came. Just happened to see you live. Yep. And, you know, Jeff is also live, so, you know, I apologize to Jeff. Didn't realize he was live because I think he and I hit the buttons at the same time. So, back on to my day. So, I'm taking my time. I get fuel. This light is... I don't know how much longer that light's going to last there. You don't need to see me anyways, right? So we get to... I go get fuel. Is a bobtail, you know, because it's easier. Because there was one point where, you know, that guy that sits, he's like second or third truck back, but he can't hold it in, so he goes inside the truck stop. Well, one of those things was happening next to me, so I was able to squeeze through since I didn't have a trailer and get in front of him, because you snooze, you lose, right? He wasn't in the truck, and I got in front of him because I had the fuel, I had to go, right? But Karma got back at me, and I go to get my trailer, and there's a blowout. Sitting still from the middle of the tire, just poof. And there was a note in my electrical socket from somebody who must have been around the trailer that said, "This scared the crap out of us, you better check your tires, here's what happened." So the tire shop said that it's rare, but it happens, but a bubble develops on the inside if the belt breaks on the inside, and if there's any weight on the trailer, it would do that. Well, I'm like, well, the trailer's been sitting empty for a month, but we did put a spare tire and rim onto the trailer, and so maybe that's what did it. So I had to get that fixed real quick. So that made me a half an hour late to my pickup. So I go to my pickup, and they're like, you got to go to the other place for the pickup. So I go to the other place. So now I don't get it loaded until like 4 o'clock. And I need to stop at Walmart in Springfield so I can have some groceries, because I have absolutely, other than some canned stuff that's been sitting in 120 degree heat, I have no food in this truck, no water, nothing. So, and as I'm doing that, Jeff calls me with not some great news about like trucking, and I'm like, so we're dealing with that, and dealing with, you know, like trucking business stuff. And then I get on the road, and I get to about Rolla, Missouri, and suddenly I look in my mirror and there's smoke billowing. I thought, this is it, my truck's catching on fire, I'm going to die, this is it. I was on the phone with a friend of mine. Now what it was is I blew a radiator hose, and so I get pulled over on a safe shoulder. I go and check it. Sure enough, looked like someone slashed the pig's throat. That's kind of what it looked like on that main hose that goes up and down. So my friend Cascade Transport, or whatever his trucking company's name is, he says, here's how you put a Band-Aid on it. I had 4 gallons of water I just bought at Walmart. I dumped them in there, and that got me exactly 2 miles. I was trying to make it to the 189 at the Loves. There's a shop next to the Loves I was going to try to make it to. Well, I got to the shoulder of that exit. And so we had to call a service truck out, and while that service truck was out there, there was an accident on I-44 right there, not because of me, but because people were confused with the shop guy's lights and decided that coming to a full stop on the interstate was a great idea, and Penske trucks don't have very much room to brake. And so blam! So we had to take statements with the state troopers, and then he fixes the hose up, and we're going to get into that a little bit. He fixes the hose up. I get about 2 miles down the road. I'm empty again. And what had happened was there was an air bubble in there. It caused me to be lowered, the thermostat open. So the guy was literally behind me. He came up, gave me another gallon of antifreeze, followed me to the 195, and then I just pulled over into the 208, and that's where I spent the night last night. Knock on wood, everything is good. And yeah, so between the flat tire and a blown radiator hose, yesterday was kind of a rough day. And the late load and everything else. So what's up? Are you quitting the BS Trucking YouTube drama BS2? Guys, it comes in cycles, all that stuff. It comes in cycles. It's very entertaining. And then everybody burns themselves out. And then everybody disappears. And then it just kind of cycles up again. Preheated, what's the problem? I'm a Snorelord band follower, don't even drive a truck. Grafton, what's up? Were you able to control the non-acceleration on the blowout? I have no idea what you're talking about. Wow, good grief. Yeah, and so what happens is that little red thing that's in the thumbnail, that comes up, and the truck gives you a minute to get pulled over. That's it. So if I'm in a one-lane road, I'm screwed, right? So it shut the truck down, and you cycle the key and it gets rid of that code, but unless that coolant is at the right level, it's not going to let you go another, it's going to give you another minute, and that's it. So yeah, so it seemed like the truck didn't have a whole lot of power after that this morning, but I think it's just because I've been out of the truck for a month and a half, and I'm hauling 42,000 pounds. At least that's what the bills say, but I feel like it's a little bit heavier. So let's talk about shops. You drive a Kenworth, you're going to be all right. I personally don't find the YouTube trucker drama entertaining. It's like kittens fight over a nipple. Well, look, I'm not going to passive aggressive talk bad about any of that, because to each their own. I'm a live and let live person. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it goes overboard, sometimes it doesn't. So that's it. So, and I appreciate that, Pigtail. So when I'm sitting on the ramp, and I'm out of water at this point, so I can't put any more in. And I already burned through my 2 bottles of antifreeze that I had on the truck, coolant, I guess. And I called, and I knew there was a shop next to the Love's right there, and that's the exit I was at. So I looked at the thing, and I see this thing called 24-hour shop or whatever. And so I called, there's a shop literally called 24-hour truck repair. So I call that guy. Hello? Yeah? Oh, yeah, 24-hour truck repair. Like, yeah, man, I told him the situation. Excuse me. I told him the situation, and he was like, well, I'm in Sullivan. I don't really have a shop per se, but, everything's closed, and you guys need this, and you guys, he starts, like, telling me what I need, like truckers are struggling right now and all that, which I kind of agree with them a little bit as far as when it comes to shops or whatever. But he's like, well, I'm in Sullivan, and I'm gonna have to go all the way to O'Fallon, Missouri to get a part from Peterbilt. Hopefully they'll be open, and then so I'm looking at 6 hours here, right? I'm like, yeah, thanks very much, So I look at Google Maps again, and I see the real name of the shop that I really wanted. It was I-44 truck and trailer repair and towing, truck and towing or whatever. Now, on the way coasting up to the ramp, I was behind a tow truck that had a truck on the hook, and that was the guy. That was the guy I needed. So he came back around. He had this big long hose that he cut to specs that he bought from O'Reilly's. He didn't have to go to Peterbilt or Kenworth to get it. And I'm like, I need to buy one of those. that could have solved a lot of problems that I just had, other than, you know, lack of coolant, whatever. But so we he gets me in and out within, I don't know, probably an hour and a half. And yeah, so what I really hate when I break down is, what shop am I going to get if I don't know which shop I'm going to get? In other words, can I trust the shop to know what they're doing? And it seems like when you tell them something that's beyond the Cummins and the Caterpillar and the Detroit, they freak out, you know, and they think that you got to buy specialized parts. See if I can turn this light on. And that's not bad. All right, so because if this guy was the only guy in the area, he was gonna probably charge me for all that drive time. And so either he was not as smart as he thought, or he was going to go get a PACCAR part and charge me for the time and the mileage, and you know, and he probably had something at the shop already, right? And how do I know this? Because I ran into that my very first truck breakdown in my Peterbilt. That's exactly what happened. I got charged for them to run around to find stuff that they didn't have. And I mean, like the computer, and they'd show up with the computer, and all I was a frozen fuel filter. And that frozen fuel filter cost me 24 hours, a late load, and $700. And I was like, and so when this dinger on this dash goes off, I have a little bit of anxiety, not because I'm worried about paying for the repair, not because I'm worried about the severity of the repair, but I'm worried about what person am I completely dependent on? Are they going to have their act together? That doesn't sit well with me. I hate that. I wish I had more mechanical experience. I wish, you know, I talk to, you know, a lot of my friends that can work on their own trucks, and when you're driving an older truck, it's actually more important to have that knowledge, you know, and I try to do as much as I can. I'm not the guy that goes to the shop just to change out a light bulb. I'm not one of those dudes, you know, unless it's up high. I'm not going to change a clearance light on the trailer, but for the most part, you know, short of having an impact wrench on my truck, you know, I want to do as much as I can. I replaced my washer fluid, windshield washer fluid pump. I changed that out myself. You know, I try to, you know, YouTube video does really great on trying to learn how to do that, on do different things. But I wish you know, and tools is another aspect. Tools is another issue. So, no, I've not been to Alaska. And so yeah, that's what creates anxiety. And, you know, and so I call the friends, I call the people that kind of know, that do know what they were talking about, to help me get an idea of what to ask the mechanic, what to tell the mechanic. And I didn't take diesel mechanics when I was a kid in high school, and I had that opportunity and I turned it down because I thought auto body would be much cooler and an easier career. So little did I know that I screwed that one up. So let's see. Okay, got an early pickup tomorrow, heading Nevada, but I'm glad no one was hurt. Steve, you'll be fine tonight. Grafton, what's up? Okay, Trash Trucker Show. It took me 10 hours to get loaded today. I got to Carson at 4:30, an hour early for a 5:30 appointment, and didn't get done until 15:30. Wow. Pale Rider TV is in the house. Are you changing your name to Metal Viking? Sounds badass. Oh, well, you know, I added Metal Viking to the title there. What was the heaviest load you ever pulled? Have you ever pulled almost the exact 80,000? Yes, I accidentally pulled 82,000 pounds, and we had to take that one back after I scaled it so they can bring it down. I think they ended up taking just enough weight. That was 79,990. So, yeah, and with a quarter tank of fuel. I was pissed. So, need to change the name back to, yeah, whatever. Do you drive all 48? I used to, Jim, but I don't. I primarily stay between I-35 and I-77. And try not to go north of 80, and I don't go south of 10. So. Are you friends with the post trip, Robert Daniel? Spectre and I don't know if we would consider ourselves friends. Spectre was very generous when I won the contest of the inverter from Road Pro. I think that Spectre and I are more acquaintances. I have no issues with him, and I don't think he has any issues with me. He's had to ask me a couple of things about Missouri stuff, you know, when it comes to like IRPs and stuff like that, and I've had to ask him. You know, when I lost my plate, he was able to help me out. But beyond that, you know, if we see each other in person, we'll say hey and do a fist bump and, you know, and all that. So, Dorothy from Kansas, have you ever had just one pallet on your trailer delivery? Yes, that happened just a month ago. I try to fix things even though it's a company truck. Cascade, what's up? Just so I can get going. Learn a lot with mechanics telling me what to do. Absolutely, Maria. I run 3 straights. No, I run more than that. You think mom and pop shops charge for emergency breakdown more to owner-operators than the majority megas? John, that's a difficult question, because if Kenworth comes out and does something for me, it's going to be more expensive. But most of the time, when you're at the mercy of like Love's or TA, usually for tires, you know, it is what it is. A mom and pop shop may not charge as much, but for me it's about time. So if I'm at a Love, if I'm waiting 3 hours for Love's, but the local shop is $50 more, but it's right around the corner, I'd rather do that. You know, time is money, and I don't want to spend 6 hours on the side of the interstate. So yeah, Robert and Spectre and I have talked a lot about that. You know, he was telling me about the stuff he puts in the engines, and then he's told me all the issues that he had with his experience with Peterbilt. But for the most part, you know, when you drive a PACCAR, you're kind of the bastard child of everybody. You know, James Best has made whole shirts that hates PACCAR. You know, PACCAR is like Volvo. You know, it's a very specialized engine that only the dealerships can work on. And the reason being is the software. The software is very proprietary. And just to get like a tool to read your codes and a subscription is like a couple of grand a year. So, but luckily I have access to our ELD, and our ELD can give me codes. So, what instruments do you play? I can play guitar, bass, and drums. Snorelord runs from Missouri to Missouri. Yes, Pale Rider. Do you have any stickers or graphics saying Metalhead Viking or Snorelords on your truck so people can know that it's your truck, you don't care for things like that? I used to have that on my old truck, but then I don't. So it's not really important for me to be recognized out and about. So it's I'm not on that level of narcissism. I mean, again, to each their own. If you want to do that, fine. But you know, the minute I put some YouTube sticker on my truck, I'll have to get a new truck. So I might be a one-trick pony for a year soon, looking at a dedicated lane. If that dedicated lane keeps you busy and pays the bills and keeps you profitable and won't be affected by potential future social issues that are going to be coming up, in my opinion, I think there's something to be said about consistency. There's something to be said about dedicated lanes. And so I wish I could get a dedicated lane. I've tried. These brokers keep losing these freight because they get the cheapest truck. And so I come in there, I do a good job for them, and I say, hey, let me know when you have more. And they always put them on the low board. They never call me because they want to do it $200 or $300 or $400 cheaper. And I've literally called these brokers and said, look, I live here. I can do this for you every single day. Why are you taking your chances on the DAP board? And then they end up losing it because they screw up the appointment times, or the guy that they booked, end up falling off, and I have to come to the rescue. And it's like they don't want to be locked in on anything. If he can make a good enough living doing the regional thing, why not? Working the same area and frequenting the same customers just makes you better at what you're doing, right? Absolutely nothing witty. I've done all 48 states. Well, I haven't been to Nevada. That's the only state I haven't been in. And nothing against Nevada. It's just, the company I work for had freight that went there. I just never did any of those runs. And, I learned a lot about the short game with Jeff and Snyder. And that strategy still works in the spot market when the market is this good. Now, obviously, when the market drops, it's better to take longer runs at times. But when things were $1.10, $1.20 a mile, when the DAT average, the DAT average was $1.23, I was doing my daily rate of my minimum daily rate, and I minimized my gas or my fuel expenses. I minimized my maintenance expenses, and that's how I survived the down rates. I wasn't going coast to coast like some of these guys. And at the end of the day, I was home more. I was always within 300 to 500 miles of the house. So if things went south, which at that time you never knew what was going to happen. It's martial law is going to happen, and this is happening, and everything's closed, and all that. And that short strategy really worked for me, where I was only in the hole $300 1 month, and only in the hole the next month $600. And one was because I was home for 2 weeks. And the other was because I had a $4,000 or $2,000 repair, a big repair. So builds good business relationships too. It's a long road, Michigan to Laredo. See, I would do something like that. So if I had to look, my favorite run would be like Joplin to Columbus, Columbus back to Joplin. I would love to do that. Laredo to Michigan and back. Well, there was a guy at Schneider that did that. You probably know who I'm talking about, Chucky. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's longer miles, but it's consistent. It's consistent. The reason why I did much better at Schneider than I did at Landstar was because of consistency, especially with the short game. Peaches, yes, I am really live. Scott says, I've had a lane for 2.5 years. It is video proof also. Yeah, so when all of us were suffering, Scott was still doing really good. Dorothy asks, have you ever delivered to New York? If so, how is it? Is there cars parked on the curbs everywhere being very crowded? The closest to New York City I delivered to was Newark, New Jersey. And Waterbury, Connecticut, that area. I was around Norwalk, Connecticut, off I-95. And yes, it gets tighter. Chicago's not fun either. I've dealt with Chicago, but I have also delivered and picked up in upstate New York as well. With so many regulations, does it make you want to quit sometimes? I know I do. First class, I don't, yes and no. I mean, I know the old school. My dad was a truck driver. I did paper locks for a year. I was good at paper locks, wink, wink. But, and I could definitely see where if someone was on paper locks today, how much money they could be making. But, I don't really know that much beyond what we see now. The e-locks are a lot more flexible now than they used to be. And, as far as like the stuff like that carriers have to do and all that, that really is not on my radar because I don't have to deal with that. so I don't really. I think the regulations about the insurance is kind of BS. And if they do the PRO Act, that's going to be a game changer there for a lot of people. That would be where I would be like, yeah, you know, that kind of sucks. Yukon is in the house. Speaking of upstate New York, Grafton, I enjoyed my time up in upstate New York. I mean, I saw two of my childhood homes that I hadn't seen in 40 years, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed there was a local farm there that went from a small farm stand to a pretty decent sized store, and I enjoyed and bought some stuff there. I bought some coffee from there, bought some bread. Yes, I bought some bread, and actually broke my anti-breadness for this. I mean, it was all homemade stuff, you know. Let's see, what else? Seemed like people were angry up there. Yukon, why is everybody in upstate New York so angry? You know, I don't know. Other than that, it was other than the emotional aspect, it was definitely an eventful trip. Got to see a bunch of water fountains, you know. Steve Berger is in the house. I didn't have time, Yukon. I didn't have time. But I'll be going up to New York probably on a semi-regular basis to visit my mom up there. So, you know, you never know, Yukon. You never know. That was a coffee. Look, Pale Rider, I understand you not liking the frou-frou coffees at Starbucks and stuff like that. But if it's roasted with a certain flavor, I think that's okay. Come on. Is it true that truck drivers get less pay after dropping off the load until they pick up the next load? Well, Peaches, it depends. Company drivers get paid for all miles. Owner-operators do not. You know, unless it's a special circumstance. So, yeah, if I deliver in Columbus, Ohio, and then I deadhead 200 empty miles, I don't get paid for those 200 empty miles, but I get paid by the load, so essentially it's all miles. So it's just on how you want to measure it. Did you see any of the Allingtons of the Northeast up there? Yes, I did. Most of the Allingtons from my roots have either passed away or moved down to Florida to get out of the Northeast. So, how long did it take for you to grow the beard? I'm trying myself. This is about 2.5 years of no trimming. I do trim up here because I don't like eating my mustache when I'm eating food, but beyond that, you know, the hardest part was when the stuff on the side wasn't quite weighing down, so it was like had this poof going on all the time. But beards just naturally happened for me, I guess. I didn't realize it, but I did have to go through about a year of an awkward, you know, not quite Amish looking stage. Did you see the? Oh, I already read that. Grafton, especially the D&D coffee. The New York State government is why. I would probably agree with that, definitely. It was interesting to see how New York was reacting to the vid and the VAX and the mask stuff. It was interesting to see that. Just the cities are angry. No. Some of the people in a small town weren't very nice either. Maybe it's because they saw this, you know, this bearded weird guy from Missouri who doesn't live in town. Maybe that's what I was seeing, but Ithaca was kind of like full of rude people too. So he said it was like two years ago. LOL. Would you say that truckers are the best coffee critics, Diesel? Best, no, but the loudest, maybe. I can't stand. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I am not a big fan of Pilot and TA coffees. Out of all the chain, Pilot Bean to Cup is not bad. I actually do like that. And the Bean to Cup at Love's I like. But beyond that, some of the mom and pops have really great. There's a place in Lowell, Arkansas that's got great coffee. But for the most part, I try to make my own. So the whole Lithic area sucks. I agree with you, Yukon. Hill Riders, hands down, the best coffee critic ever. There you go. Nothing witty is spoken truth. T6 and everything. So, we're gonna. What's the title of this video? I forgot even what I titled. Is trucking worth it? I already got thumbs down. Sweet. Check it out. You guys want to see that? Check it out. 1 thumbs down. That's beautiful. I bet you it's Yukon who did that. I don't think the Yukon likes me. And Shadow Wolf used to totally do more copy reviews. Yep. So let me get into the. Are you broke down somewhere, or did you get fixed up? I see the rate in your thumbnail. I am fine. I am good. Yesterday was a adventure. You'll have to go back and see in the video, Steve, to see what happened. The best coffee shops close at 10 p.m. Sucks. That's where having one of those Stanley metal thermoses come in handy. That way you get your coffee, and then you'll have it if you're an overnight driver. Remember what I said about Ithaca Snorelord being the most communistic city in the southern tier of New York State? That's why they're so rude there. Robert, I would agree with you, and I think it's that Ivy League school that kind of creates that atmosphere. So, all right, so let's talk about what the actual title of the video is. If someone comes up to me and says, "Hey Steve, is it worth it to be a truck driver?" I can't answer that. If they come up to me and say, "Hey Steve, is it worth it to be a company driver?" I can't answer that. If they come up to me and say, "Steve, is it worth it to be an owner-operator?" I can't answer that. If someone goes, "Hey Steve, is it worth it to get your own authority?" I can't answer that. Or if you do get your own authority, is it worth it to add on trucks? I can't answer that. And so, where I'm getting at is that you have a lot of people on social media that will tell you things like, it's not worth it because this, and this, and this, right? And so, whenever someone asks me, "Hey Steve, is it worth it to be an owner-operator?" Well, I'm going to have 12 questions for you. 10 to 12 questions. Because only you can answer that. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on what the end game is. It depends on what your home expenses are. It depends on what your home life is about. It depends on if you have business experience. It depends on your mindset. It depends on your work ethic. It depends on so many different things. So to make a blanket statement, which I heard a lot when I became an owner-operator, we're like, I can't believe you bought a truck. It's not worth it to be an owner-operator, Steve. Don't buy a truck. Meanwhile, they're paying for their truck. I had owner-operators tell me not to become an owner-operator, not because of anything about me, but because they were failing themselves. It was a struggle for them. They did not think it was worth it for themselves. So they automatically assumed that would happen to me. And to me, I see this question all the time on YouTube. Is it worth it for blah, 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 blah? Is it worth it to do this? Is it worth it to that? Is it worth it? I've gotten in whole arguments with people about, is it worth it to have your own authority and not add on extra trucks? Well, Sammy makes sense. He doesn't add on extra trucks, and he's just fine, right? It's all about mindset. It's all about what you want. What do you want to do out of what do you want out of being an owner-operator? What do you want out of trucking? Let's say that your goal in trucking is to do OTR for a year and then get a day cab job, which that was my original intention. If that's your goal, or let's say that you have a great day cab job and you're making like $1,500 a week, and you've got excellent benefits, then you have to ask other questions, whether it's worth it to be an owner-operator. And so, when people ask, is it worth it for this? Is it worth it for that? The bottom line is, you gotta, like, for example, is it worth it to get your own authority? I can't answer that. number one, I don't have my own authority, so I really can't be an expert at that. But number two, because you can't make a blanket statement. Some people are geared towards having their own authority, and some people are not. It depends on costs. How much will your costs go up by getting your own numbers versus a company like Landstar? And if you, let's say, one of your weaknesses is paperwork, compliance, well, you can hire someone to do that. So you have to add that to your costs. And at the end of the day, you do the big math, and you look at your goals, and you look at your intentions, and you look at your 5-year plan, and then you can answer that question yourself. Don't rely on an idiot like me. Don't rely on any of these other social media, kings and queens. Rely on yourself by doing the correct homework. So if someone goes, hey Steve, is it worth it to be in the spot market? I'm at Schneider, is it worth it to be in the spot market? Well, I'll ask all these questions, and then I'll say, for me it's worth it because of this, this, and this. Or, so if you hate talking to brokers, it will be a challenge. I'm not going to say that, well, if you hate talking to brokers, it's not worth it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say something like, if you hate talking to brokers, it's going to be a challenge. If you hate doing paperwork, it's going to be a challenge. If you hate having the same trailer behind you all the time, and doing live unloads every time, it's going to be a challenge. The things that you hate, the things that you are not good at will be the challenges, regardless if you're becoming a truck driver, getting your own authority, going to the spot market, buying a truck, regardless of any of that. You will have challenges, and it will strengthen your strengths, and you have to really defeat your weaknesses and your fears and your anxieties. So there you go. Wow, you guys are chatting it up. Let's see. Remember what I said? Okay, I already read that. What parts of Missouri are the worst and what's the nicest? Rick LP, the central and southwest Missouri. The Ozarks region, from Lake of the Ozarks all the way down to Branson is like the best spot. Up and down US 65 is my favorite stretch. Let's see. Yes, Pale Rider is the original coffee reviewer. Is it worth it to spend $26,000 on fuel and $33,000 on truck and trailer maintenance? There you go. You like playing bass? I play bass for fun. It depends. The band that I played bass for, it was fun because I had less responsibilities in that band, and it strengthened up my left hand, my fret hand, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. But do I pick up a bass just for the hell of it? Not really. Depends on your own situation. Absolutely, Maria. Yes, it is 100% changed my life for the better, but it's all dependent on the individual. It's all a matter of opinion. There you go, Burger. Let's see. Talk about Yukon and tourism. You should check out Punk Rock MBA. Dude's channel is great. Talks about the state of all rock music. Good deal. Chris Murphy, worked crane and rigging for 14 years, now trying to build my own heavy haul company, hoping it works out. Good. Well, good luck to you, Chris. Is it worth it if it benefits you and only you know you? There you go. Grafton says, word, yes, it is for me. 15K a month revenue, 18K a year insurance. 100% of the revenue will net you roughly 10%, 10,000 more over an 80-20 company lease. And that's the other thing. So to go from a company like Truck to your own authority, for some people it's been worth it, and for some people it hasn't. All because of the insurance. And insurance is the stickler. And if you have to pay for someone to help you with the compliance stuff, or if you have to pay for a service like Motor Carrier HQ that will help you set up the authority. Getting the authority is easy, but maintaining it is where the challenge lies. Invoicing, dealing with the brokers, dealing with the factoring companies, if you choose to do so, and the insurance companies, and making sure that you have all your ducks in a row, all the time. And then, of course, insurance and state permits and stuff like that. It's like asking someone who loves the sport, trying to make the pros, is it worth it? Well, if you ask the pro, they will say yes. But if someone who didn't make it, they will say they wasted years, right? The conditions are good right now. If the rates are dropping, we look again. Yep. Is it worth always thinking of the business or truck repairs while you're at home all the time? That is always my question to anyone who asks me, is it worth it to become any kind of owner operator? Robert Daniel, you're absolutely correct. It's a 24/7 job. However, the more you streamline, the easier it is to maintain. That is the beauty of like trucking. Jeffrey, like, is really good at streamlining things. He makes everything. He makes the settlement simple. He makes the platform simple. And I'm not brown nosing here. I'm just telling you the truth. Jeff's mastery has been simplification. He has a simplified approach at Schneider. He has a simplified approach when he was in the spot market running his truck. And he has a simplified approach on how he manages IFTA, ELDs, all that stuff. And so the less time you have to deal with the 24/7 stuff, the better. Now, I completely, well, not even completely, the month and a half I had off, I still had to deal with the truck repair. I still had to get new tires. I still had to deal with getting my expenses caught up. I still had to deal with, booking loads and all that. Keep an eye on the market, But there was a 2-week period where I didn't really think about the truck. I did have to still check on safety stuff for light trucking. So, the idea of having this 2 separate phones, to have a business phone I can just put away when I'm not really dealing with anything business-wise, that's been thrown out the window, because at like trucking, I try to be there for the guys 24/7 as much as I possibly can. Yeah, the problem with that show, Ozark, Jacob, is it's not film. It's actually filmed in Georgia. That's the bummer part of that. But it is pretty accurate on well, I don't know if there's a huge underground heroin problem at the Lake of the Ozarks heroin distribution mafia thing, but there is an uprise of heroin and fentanyl in the Ozarks region. So who knows? But I don't think the Mexican cartel is like actively in the Lake of the Ozarks killing people. This guy Jeff you're talking about, is he a trucking guru? Is he really good at owner operating? Yeah, Jacob, he's built a trucking company from 1 truck to 15 trucks, and he no longer has to drive a truck. So yeah, he's doing pretty good for himself. And he's making 20% gross, not net, but gross, off of 15 drivers. And if they're all averaging about $4,000 a week, do the math. Jeffrey Like is the owner of the company that I'm leased on to. So we got a bunch of new people in here. So, and then the other aspect is, people ask me, is it worth to come to the spot market? Well, it depends on what your needs are. It depends on how you want to set it up. I talked to one of our new drivers just the other day, and they want to look at a dedicated run. Eric has talked about it in his videos. At some point, you get tired of the feast or famine that happens in the spot market. And so I'm all about consistency. I will do the same load 10 times in a row if I have to. And I have. If it's profitable and it's keeping my costs low and it's keeping my profit margin up, then, there's no reason to always swing for the fences. So I'm not going out to California for, $4,000 and coming back out for 10. I'm not doing that. Because at the end of the day, you're still averaging about maybe $1,000 a day. Well, I can do that running the short game for the most part. So. Haiti, Missouri is beautiful this time of year. Donnie, Luke, that's Yeah, that's like the southern edge of what you would consider the Ozarks region. That's more in the rice fields there. The Boot Heel is a lot more remote. I mean, you're not near any big city. The closest big city is Memphis, in the Boot Heel there. And I think they pronounce it Haiti. I could be wrong, but I call it Haiti because I'm just that guy, you know. But, you know. Is Missouri a four-season state? Yes. Until the PRO Act passes, if it does. Look, the PRO Act, I've talked to many people at length about this, and the only thing I'm going to say about PRO Act, because I can't go into details of the PRO Act because I didn't research it as much. I go by what other people are telling me. I go by what I've read in reports like, you know, Freight Waves and stuff like that, and what other YouTubers are talking about it. But I will say this: doesn't matter what kind of business you own, always have a plan B. COVID should have shown you guys that you needed a plan B. You need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to change. If the PRO Act makes it to where Jeff can't have me as a contractor anymore, I have a plan for that. And that's it. You can only plan for the worst and hope for the best. And if you have a backup plan, that is key to your business's survival. Overtaxed. Donnie Luke is absolutely right. I'm just not going to read that out loud. Yeah, tornado seems just like Tennessee is, right? Grafton. Kayslin's in Kansas City, Missouri. Where are you going, Kayslin? What are you doing, Kayslin? Yes, we have now California. You have mudslide season and wildfire season. In Maine, you have tree season where it's all green, and then snow season. Florida, you have 5-minute rain season and 20-day rain season. And Texas just depends on what part of the state you're at. No, Dorothy, I do not. How did Missouri avoid Civil War? Diesel, I'm not a history guru, but I believe that we remained neutral because we couldn't decide what side we wanted to be on. So. But that's where the title comes from. Is it worth it? Now, if every day was like yesterday, I would tell you very much that it's not worth it. But not every day is like yesterday. Not every day. Today was a good day. Today was a smooth sailing day. A couple of traffic backups as usual around Indy. But other than that, you know, avoiding the usual ignorance. Getting back in the truck driver mode has been a little bit more challenging this time than it has been in the past. So, yeah, we had two separate governors. We were divided within ourselves. Have I ever hit poles with your trailer or trees? I have hit trees. I've got a whole video where I'm tree trimming in Alabama. Mobile, Alabama, actually. As far as hitting poles, I probably bumped up against one at a truck stop, you know, just the yellow ones that are designed to stop you. But beyond that, I've never racked one on the side of the trailer or anything like that. 8 mismatched tires right off the bat makes me angry. Kayslin, did you get rid of the truck that you had? Did you buy a truck? Did you buy a truck sight unseen with 8 mismatched tires? Or did you go to a company that is going to put 8 mismatched tires on a truck? Kayslin, what are you doing over there? ain't want to go back trucking either. Yeah, RD, I saw you talking about opening a pizza place. Now, those Jayhawkers burned down Osceola on their way home to Kansas. Look, there's a really good Civil War history thing in Springfield. It's actually in Battlefield, Missouri, hence the name Battlefield. Go check it out sometime. I've been run over by other trucks a few times. That sucks bad. Would you rather be a little shorter or taller, or are you happy with it? I'm happy with my height. Kaislyn, it's always a long story with you. How's the traffic in Missouri? I-44 has really increased in traffic here lately. St. Louis isn't really bad as compared to the other cities as far as traffic goes. Kansas City, depends on what they got opened. But for the most part, Missouri is one of the easier states to drive in. We're 70 miles an hour. We don't split speed limit. And, you know, and half the state isn't under construction. Dave. So, any other comments, questions, or concerns? Because the next time a YouTuber says it's not worth it, give them the finger. Because you are the only one that can decide. Even if, like, look, if some guy who's a complete idiot comes up to me and says, Steve, I'm going to get my own authority. I'm not going to sit there and go, well, you shouldn't do it. You're not cut out for that. It's not worth it for you to do that. I'm not going to say that to that person. What I'm going to tell them is, well, you know, what's your strength and what's your weaknesses? Well, I got this and this and this and this and this. Okay, so these things are going to be a challenge if you want to get your own authority. So I suggest working on those things. Or you're going to have to hire someone to do those things for you, in which case that will go to your costs. Because I know complete idiots that have their own authority. So, but for the most part, I will not deter anybody from doing what they want to do. No, I never got into Sopranos, John. Where is this Missouri place? Which one? Osceola? Trailer tires, Dorothy. This truck was repoed. The last driver must have been cheap, and where I bought the truck from will not change them because they're brand new. Interesting. RD, I'm not even going to say that. You got a quote for $5,200 for your own authority? For new tires. Yeah, Berger has forgotten everything east of Columbus, Ohio. He has forgotten that existed. Or I mean, I'm sorry, west and backwards. I have no idea, Diesel Bro. No drive, dude. You get good drive tires for $3,200. I just did it. Have you ever seen drop trailers, truck stops because the fifth wheel isn't locked? Yes, I've seen that quite a bit. In Schneider, that's a fire and offense. Yeah, with a little research, you can make trucking your own thing. There's almost a different kind of trucking for any person, I guess. Look. Trucking is what you make of it. If you see it as a curse, it will be a curse. If you see it as a blessing, it will be a blessing. So a lot of people don't take care of their business out here, and they blame trucking for that. A lot of people don't take care of their health out here. They blame trucking for that. I'm proof that you can turn your health around as a truck driver. There are people out there that prove that you can know nothing about business and be successful out here. And the more successful you are at trucking, okay, listen to my words here. The more successful you are at trucking, regardless if it's a company job or owner, operator, or authority, the more freedoms you have. The more freedoms you have, the more it's worth it. There you go. The more successful you are at trucking and your goals, the more freedoms you have. The more freedoms you have, the more it's worth it. There you go. Orion rules. No, Dorothy, it's not. It's barely above poverty level wages. Sometimes. Depends on the company. In Caseland, trucking's a curse for you because that's how you approach it. No, the Vietnam War is. What is the Vietnam War? Define freedoms. I'm stuck in my own prison. Well, because you're not trucking anymore, Ryan. Cascade says it's one of those lowest paying jobs they figure by the hour. Well, you have to figure out trucking on a 40-hour basis because think about this. You don't request the company that you work for to pay you for your commute to work. You don't get paid for your lunch hour. You don't get paid to commute back to work or back home from work. You know? And what are you going to do when you get home? You're going to sit down, watch TV, have dinner with the family, pet the dog, you know, and go to bed, right? You know, in a truck, some people count every minute that they're in the truck physically. But other people just break it down to a 40-hour week. So if I made, say, this company driver, if I made $1,000 in a week, I would do 1,000 divided by 40. That comes out to $25 an hour. There are jobs that you can do for $25 an hour. It doesn't require you to be away from your family, be away from home, to not have a social life, things of that nature. Do you think local trucking jobs pay per hour is decent? Some are and some aren't. Depends on your area too. Yes, Jim, I agree with you. But yeah, we are in the top 5 dangerous jobs. I think we're even above a cop as far as danger, job dangers. Guys, I don't think I ever see myself in a position where I'm going to clock in and clock out somewhere. Let me take these glasses off. Because I enjoy my freedoms. There's no way I could have taken a month and a half off to do what I needed to do if I had like a regular day cab job or a regular job in general. There's no way I could have accomplished that. Quick hit, what's up? Seaburger, you can't be eating spaghetti. It's bad on that. That's bad on your system there. make more money than my teachers. Pretty sad. Well, here's the thing. Life is not fair. Business is not fair. Wages aren't fair. And pretty much that's what's leads to societal collapses is, you know, greed and ego and envy kind of corrupt everybody. How many years did it take for you to feel comfortable? Usually, I think within the first year. Trucking came naturally to me because my father was a truck driver, so I'd already had experience being up in the truck before. Yeah, locally you tend to work hard, and I've done a video about it. And you have less free time, less freedom. Put that out there. No such thing as fairness. You can't give up your spaghetti. Steve Burger. I agree. Was it always your dream to be a trucker? Yes. My teacher said I wouldn't go anywhere staring out a window. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many aspects of trucking I do not enjoy. But I'm kind of a loner to begin with. I'm not a social butterfly. I'm not the kind of guy that can walk into a room and pizzazz anybody. I can do it on stage, but I have loud wattage behind me and a crowd that's there to see me in front of me. But to walk into a room as a stranger and like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm more of a loner. I don't work well with others sometimes. But anyways, guys, if you've got no more comments, questions, or concerns, we'll end this video so we can see if Jeff is still alive. And you know, I appreciate everybody coming in. I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate that thumb down. You're awesome. That thumb down guy, you're still watching. You're still watching. Why you're still watching? You think an overly sociable person can make it in trucking? Depends. I mean, I know people that are on their cell phones 24/7, so you can do that. Social media has kind of filled in that gap a little bit. You can be completely alone, but have 1,000 followers on Instagram and feel like you're something. Yeah, right. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. This was much better than the original video I was going to do about is it worth it. That video probably would have got me in a lot of trouble. So, yeah, I've seen lots of famous locations. I haven't seen White House or I haven't seen Mount Rushmore, but I've seen other things. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. If Jeff is still alive, go check out that video. I'll be in there in a second. And have a good night. And remember, only you knows what you need to do. Peace.